Hello, basketball fans, and welcome to the final edition of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. I'm Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at Southwest Minnesota State University, and we'll wrap up this 2011-12 Mustang basketball season, a great season for the Mustang men's basketball team. We'll talk with head coach Brad Bigler and have a couple of special guests joining us as well here in our final episode of this 2012 season. And joining us, as always, is the head coach, Brad Bigler. And the Mustangs are wrapping up this season a couple of weeks ago with a loss to Minnesota State Moorhead at the NCAA Regional Tournament in Golden, Colorado. Mustangs lose 82-66. And we'll talk about that game here briefly, Coach. But overall, we'll look back through this entire season. You won 19 games. Second in the conference, win the conference tournament championship, and just a lot of great memories and a very successful season.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. I thought our guys went about the business the right way, and it started in the fall. I thought they put their time in the fall. As a group, we really, I think, went back to our roots and figured out what it means to play in a brown and gold uniform, and from the teams before us, and understanding the pride that is in this program and in the tradition and the expectations that we want to accomplish. And I think these guys, through and through, were very good throughout the year.
Well, we'll talk about the entire season here shortly, but let's go back to that game on March 10th, which is in Golden, Colorado. Mustangs lose 82-66 against the Dragons, a team you played just 6 days earlier and beat in the conference tournament championship game. But this Saturday night in Colorado, give the Dragons credit. Obviously, made some shots, and that. Just offensively, the Mustangs just weren't there all night, Coach. We shoot under 40%, second lowest of the season, and our worst percentage since mid-January.
And that was something that stood out to me. I thought in that first half, in some ways we might have been almost too unselfish, where we were driving and looking at the rim, but then not necessarily wanting to take tough shots. And we probably needed to just be able to step up and knock down a few shots and then get our rhythm and get going a little bit. But, yeah, like you said, that shooting percentage was one of the lowest we've had since Christmas, and it was just a bad timing. It was just an off game for us, and unfortunately for us. But then Moorhead, they also knocked down some tough shots and got some confidence early, and we're able to just kind of ride that momentum throughout the game.
And the tough thing is just that you hadn't played that way in so long, 2 months, and all of a sudden, the worst time to play it. But you got to give the Dragons credit, and the Mustangs lose 82-66 and fall and finish the regular season, or finish the season at 19-11. As we talked about, Coach, just a great season from going back to late October and early November, playing those exhibition games against Colorado State, and we talked about this throughout the entire year about your schedule that you played and got the guys ready. And look back now at your exhibition game against the NCAA tournament team in Colorado State. South Dakota State makes the NCAA tournament as well. Milwaukee made a postseason game for them, and all this stuff, it helped and it got you ready for this regular season.
And I agree. Going into the year, we had a lot of things that we need to figure out early on, and playing that tough competition, facing some adversity, I think that did help us. And I think that allowed us to kind of define some roles early on in the season, and I thought, overall, those experiences helped prepare us for those big games later on in the year.
Well, some of the numbers for the Mustangs, again, they're finishing at 19-11, one of the best seasons in school history. You make the NCAA tournament for the third time in program history. And just look at some of the team numbers, Coach. And field goal percentage, 49%, a very high number. I think it's the second highest in school history. And, just a tribute to all your guys that just got great looks to the basket. And, that's an incredibly high percentage to finish playing 30 basketball games.
And again, that just goes back to them committing, and there's a little sacrifice in that too. Understanding that, I might have a good shot here, but I can also get a teammate a better shot. And they bought into that, especially after Christmas, and scoring off assists and getting action to the rim. And those are results of a high number such as that.
And look at individual numbers as well. The Mustangs have a very balanced attack. Many guys averaging between that 10 and 6 points and getting a lot of minutes, and really just a team effort. Obviously Jordan Miller got his points and led the team in scoring for a majority of the games, but there was a balanced attack. And one night it might be Nick Smith, it might be Matt Zager, Trent Carlson led the team against Concordia St. Paul, and Bernard Birch. I mean, there's just various guys throughout the season.
And that's what I think Mustang basketball is all about, having different guys step up on a different occasion when their opportunity presents itself. and really fighting that guy when he's hot, getting him the basketball, maybe getting him a few more minutes and utilizing that opportunity. But, yeah, it was just fun. I think those guys did a great job, and we're looking forward to, improving from what we've done this year and kind of building off it.
Well, of course, another player that really came into his own this season, had a very good season numbers-wise, was Lavion West, Jr. Really, just the last week and a half, unbelievable games, MVP of the conference tournament, and played very solid against Moorhead in the regional tournament as well, and that's something to build off for going into next year.
And Lavion, and not only his offensive end, but his defensive end. His complete game over the last couple of weeks is what we've all wanted to see out of Lav. It's nice to see him taking those steps, and hopefully he can build off that as well. That's the thing. I think he still makes his biggest impact on the defensive end because of his length and his athleticism and his ability to just hound defenders. I think that's where it starts with him, and then offensively, that's kind of just icing on the cake when he's knocking down those shots and making those plays. He really becomes one of the better players in the conference if he's able to consistently do that. A
couple other players that really came into their own this season as well was Tremel Barnes, really added key to this team coming off the bench and playing the guard position. And we saw Casey Susanguth get a lot more minutes this year and make some big plays for you as well.
And both those guys, I think, utilize their minutes very efficiently. There was high production with their minutes, and that's what you need when guys come off the bench, to be able to come in and not only maintain, but also those guys improved a lot of times the momentum or the change of the outlook of the game with their production, and they were able to do it in a lot of different ways, not just scoring the basketball, but defensively, getting those rebounds, those hustle plays, tips on balls. Those guys, those are some things that maybe don't necessarily go on the stat sheet, but play a big factor in the outcome of the games.
Yeah, of course, a lot of great memories throughout this season. 19-11, the Mustangs finish at home, 10-2, and some great road wins as well. Obviously, Coach, the last weekend in in Rochester, beating Winona, beating Moorhead, things we'll never forget. And really, I think the difference late in the season probably was, those games, beating Augie at home on Hawaiian night, but then going on the road and really taking it to Concordia and St. Cloud. I think that might have been kind of the difference right there, that whole road trip, and maybe even the Winona Upper Iowa trip. We didn't beat Winona, but had a great chance to do that and beat Upper Iowa, which a team that beat a lot of teams at their home court, and we're able to get that win. And that kind of seemed to be the difference there, that end of January weekend, and it kind of put you on a 10-2 record there to finish up the regular season.
And that's something that we talked a lot about early in the year, being able to go on the road and get those big wins. And it just took us a little while to learn how to do that, to figure that out. And once we were able to maybe win a couple of those games on the road, I think we had some more confidence. And going into that conference tournament, in all 3 games in the conference tournament, we were down in the second half, and we were able to come back and win. That shows a lot of shows a lot of heart, in my opinion. And I think those guys took a lot of pride in that, and they were really playing for themselves and doing it the right way.
Well, of course, now we'll look back and continue to look back on this season, but now that we got you here, before we have a couple of players stop in here, let's talk about the off-season plans now for Mustang basketball and what goes on for the players that are returning. You do take a couple of weeks off, but it's always working for the next season, and kind of talk about what goes on here during spring semester before school that's out in May.
Well, the first thing we should cover is there's been a new rule change again. It seems like the NCAA is doing this life in balance, and there's always new rules, but once our season is done, we cannot work out our guys until the Division II National Championship game is finished. So for the last couple of weeks, since we got back from Colorado, it's been kind of a hands-off. Guys have been able to just focus on their classroom, and we've been more so focused on the recruiting side of things. But once the national tournament game is done, which will be this weekend or early next week, then we'll be able to start up our workouts again. And I think it's going back to the same things that we've always done. Don't forget how we've got to this point. It's putting in hard work. We talk about a routine outside of basketball and having them stay focused and continue to work. There are some guys who have had a lot of success early in their careers. They cannot be satisfied. Now is a time where they need to take it to a whole nother level. Their commitment needs to take it to another level, and if that's the case, then some good things will happen. If not, well, then we're going to be humbled, and there's going to be some growing pains if we don't come ready to work in this offseason.
And what are some of the things that you can do during the spring? Do you get a certain amount of hours per week with the guys, or is it all individual? How does that work?
Well, in the fall, you can practice as a whole team for your hours. That changed. That was another rule change we talked about. But now back in the spring, they've pulled it back where now you get 4 guys in a group with a coach. You can work on some skill development type stuff in an hour or 2 hours a week in a skill development setting, and I enjoy that. That's for me a very quality time with one-on-one, one-on-4, where you can really try to improve their skill set and you can improve your communication with them. You're all getting on the same page. Those are hours. Those are workouts that I love doing, and we need to utilize those and get better.
And of course, it never ends for you and your coaching staff. The Mustang is you have signed 1 player for next year, but you're always on the road recruiting and looking to improve the team and try to plug some holes. And that goes on throughout this spring and all summer. And you're obviously looking ahead already to graduates for 2013 as well.
Yeah, and we have one signee here in the fall, and then we did get a commitment that we really can't talk about. We got a commitment during the school year from a forward in Minnesota. So right now we have 2 bigger student athletes that will be coming into Southwest, still looking for potentially a point guard, and then maybe even 1 more player if it works out. So, but yeah, the roster right now is with the core of guys. We returned 7 of the top 9 guys who played in the rotation. So it's a matter of maybe filling a couple of those holes and then giving some guys that are currently in the program opportunities as well, because we have some quality redshirts who have the opportunity to maybe step in and make a difference.
Well, one thing that obviously is going to be key, as you mentioned about working hard in this offseason, is it's going to be different next year. We'll probably be a high-ranked team in the conference preseason polls, and that target's going to be on the Mustangs' back next year. Obviously, returning 5 starters and some of the top scorers on the team. And that's what you're talking about. They need to stay focused, stay humble, and know what got them there.
Yeah, and that whole preseason stuff. I mean, we're not going to get too wrapped up in anything like that. It's just it's a poll. We obviously have a lot of guys returning, so it's kind of a popularity contest where people just know that we know our personnel. They know we have a lot of guys returning, but there's a lot of quality teams in the league. There are teams that are going to reload. There's teams that return a lot of players back. They're going to be healthier next year. That's where the competition in this conference, it's a 1 through next year will be 16. Going on the road, playing at home, I mean, you have to be ready to play every night. And that preseason pool stuff, it is what it is.
Yes, it should be an interesting offseason and get ready for the 2012-13 season for Mustang basketball. You are watching Mustang basketball with Brad Bigler. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have a couple of Mustang seniors. Casey Susanguth and Trent Carlson will join us to talk about this past season and their careers. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, Mustang basketball with Brad Bigler, and joining us in studio, a special guest is senior Mustang basketball player Casey Susanguth. We'll talk to Trent Carlson here shortly, another senior on the men's basketball team. But Casey, thanks for coming down. And we talked about it with Coach Bigler, what an exciting season it was. And for you as a senior, it had to be great to see how this team's developed. You've only been here a couple of years, transferring from Ridgewater, but overall, a very good season for you and your teammates.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely surprised some people, and I think that was something nobody was expecting from us. But no, it was a great run, and ability to win the conference tournament and be able to make that regional. It was a good experience, and it's definitely a step up from how we did last year.
We talk about all the time the camaraderie that the team has, and you come in from a junior college from Ridgewater, so you didn't have the 4 years in this program, but you can just tell that right away. I'm sure the guys, you brought you in, and you're part of this team last year, and you played some last year as well, but much more of an impact this year. But overall, I mean, you can just tell that the guys get along, and that shows on the court as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was a family atmosphere from right when I got here. Everybody's really friendly. We all like to hang out together and things like that. But last year I stepped in here and there, occasional roles, playing behind guys like Scott Rail and Taylor Hughesby. They taught me the ropes, a lot of things to learn like that. But no, it was definitely a great experience to be able to come in behind them and really learn what the Mustang program's all about.
This past season, Casey averaging 6.5 points, 3 rebounds per game. You shoot 61%, the highest percentage, on the team, 68 of 111. And, that was kind of your game, was kind of getting dirty and getting in the block and getting those passes from the guards and you know, a lot of layups and whatnot. But you know, you had some moves as well, obviously in the blocks. But you knew your role, and that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, exactly. I just try to be at the right place at the right time. You know, with guys like Vennard, Trammell, and especially Jordan. They got great vision, and you know, off that ball screen action, we do a lot and just roll, and they end up finding you right in the right place at the right time. So guys like Jordan and Vennard, they're great at that.
And I thought that was one of the things where what Casey brought to the table is his ability to be instinctive. There are times where you need to set ball screens. There are times where you need a slip, and I think Casey found out that a lot of times early on where he'd set a ball screen, and then he would have a slip, and then he would get an easy scoring opportunity off those slips. And that's where we saw Casey develop a lot as a player over here at Southwest, just as being instinctive, being active. That was the thing that intrigued us in the recruiting process with Casey, his ability to you know, keep balls alive, get offensive rebounds, do those hustle plays, take charges. Those are those things, again, as a team that shows some toughness things, that just shows the ability to make plays.
Of course, Casey's one of 3 seniors on this year's squad, and as mentioned, second year of this Mustang basketball program. Talk about, you know, one thing fans don't get to see, obviously, is the practices, but the games are probably the easiest part of the season, playing the games, because those practices are pretty tough. But just kind of, you know, talk about, you know, what goes on, because there's battles all the time, and you're going up and down the floor, and that's why we, you know, play so hard, is because in practice you're doing that year round.
No, exactly. And a lot of practice is, you know, 5-on-5. We'll go at it a lot, and you know, you get kind of sick of the people you're playing against every day. You know, you're battling against, you know, Nick Smith and Michael Apple, those big guys, and you know, sometimes, you know, you get, you know, a little complacent maybe, but you know, we're always there to push each other, and that's what I think shows up on the court every day. And that's, you know, what we learn in practice.
Obviously, 19 wins in the conference tournament championship. There might be some obvious answers to this next one, but what was some of the highlights this year that stand out for you? Was it, you know, maybe obviously the championships helped, but you know, was it Hawaiian night, or was it other games that maybe that stand out for you as a player or as with your teammates?
I just say, you know, the long bus trips, those are fun. As much as people talk about how grueling they are, being 14 hours, 15 hours, it's fun to be around, you know, your teammates for that long, and you really get to see a different side of people that you really didn't think they had. But you know, those long bus trips, those are definitely fun. You get to learn a lot about everybody else. So.
And of course, now as a senior from Wilmer, Minnesota, and played at Ridgewater. Now, Casey, what is your plans here for the rest of this spring and for the future? Is it you know, getting into the work field, or are you going to maybe enjoy college life a little bit longer? What's the plans for Casey?
I'm going to be graduating this spring with a business management major, and as far as that goes, I'm just going to start looking for jobs and see where that takes me. But I'm going to enjoy these next few months, and then we'll see what takes me from there.
Yeah, you can sit back and watch all these guys do their individual workouts and
Exactly.
just watch and say, I don't have to do that anymore.
Well, occasionally, if a recruit comes on campus, maybe he'll help us out by playing a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get him back for the alumni game next year.
right.
You know, I think him and Trent and Dawson, they would love to be able to come back and do that, and that's something that. With our program, we're trying to develop that culture and just that fan base, and a lot of it starts with guys like them being able to come back. And just because they're leaving the program doesn't mean that they're not a part of it in some way, shape, or form. And they're always welcome to come back and be a part of it. All
right, Casey, thanks for coming by. Great career here at Southwest, and best of luck to you in the future. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll have another senior, Trent Carlson. He'll join us in the studio right after this. And welcome back. We're now with Trent Carlson, Mustang basketball, senior basketball player, joins Coach Bigler and myself here as we wrap up this 2011-12 Mustang basketball season. Of course, SMSU, a 19-11 season, making the NCAA tournament, and Trent, fifth-year senior for the Mustangs, wrapping up his career. And Coach, Trent, I should say, you know, Coach Bigler is part of this too, but not many guys get to say 2 NCAA tournaments during their career here at Southwest, and maybe not even anybody, but you're one of them here, and thanks for joining us. But what a great career for you, and what a great way to end off with a 19-win season and going to the NCAA tournament.
Thanks for having me, but are we the only two?
Coach and player.
Wow. Yeah. You're the only player.
You're the only player.
Wow.
I just come off the top of my head like that.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I was going to say, I didn't even think of that, but yeah.
But overall,
let's talk about that, though. Let's talk about that. Your career here, you've been here for 5 years. Why don't you talk about maybe some players that you enjoyed playing with the most over the course of your career, and some of the guys that probably made the biggest impression on you, or mentors that you may have had.
Oh boy. Well, I'm not gonna be able to get everyone in, but probably get some text messages after this. But I'd have to go first of all with Andrew Pashong. Just his ability to see the court. I'm a shooter, so that's big for me. There's a lot of times where I just spotted up and he did all the work for me. So I'll probably get a text message from that too. But guys like even last year, like Taylor Hughesby, Scott Rail. I mean, you got guys that come to practice every single day. More guys that I can think of are Bilkey, Andy Bilkey. Just because his role was a lot like mine. Never knew when you were going to come in. You had to work for everything you kind of got and make the best out of the opportunity. So I learned a lot from him. Just sitting at the end of the bench with him when we were making that Elite Eight run. I'll never forget those days, some of the conversations that we had down there. And then he would be going into the game, and I'd be like, I don't know how he's ready to go. But But yeah, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, you look back through the years and making the Elite Eight in 2009, and then go to the conference tournament championship a couple of seasons ago. Last year, a very tough conference, just missed the conference tournament, Trent. But did you know, as a players, that you had something maybe special happening this year? We knew we had some talent. There were a lot of question marks, obviously losing very good players in Hughesby and Rail from last year. But did you guys know as players that this could be a special team if everybody came together and had the ability to make a run?
I think we were a lot more confident than everyone else. Everyone else had their doubts. Losing Scott and Taylor. I mean, obviously, huge numbers, losing those guys. But also, we had a lot of guys coming back, and all those guys had a year more of experience. I mean, you got guys like Vennard and Nick who were coming in and playing as true freshmen. It's not an easy thing to do. So you got those guys getting an extra year, and I think the biggest thing is just at the start of the year, we kind of had to figure out who we were. We couldn't be the same team as we were last year. We didn't have Scott and Taylor down low, so we kind of, Bigler made up a new little offense for us, and the start of the year was just trying to get to know everyone and how they played, and really just figuring out that offense.
Well, talk about your career, Trent. Came in and now finished your career as one of the top three-point shooters in school history. And you mentioned knowing your role and coming off and hitting some big shots. And you had some big games this year to win on the road at Crookston, at Concordia, St. Paul. And I suppose that's just you knew what you had to do to get on the court. And that was play strong defense and make some threes as well. And I think you really came into that in the last couple of years.
Yeah, coming in, I was redshirted. First year I didn't play a lot. We had a really good team. We went to the Elite Eight. And then that next year, it's just one of those things where if I wanted to get on the court, I had to work harder than everyone else. So you learn that when you're young. There's a lot of great guys that come to this program, so you're not just going to be able to step on the floor. So, and then that's enough just to go to your, when you do get that opportunity, you got to produce. You got to be ready to go. It doesn't matter if it's the second half with 7 minutes to go or the first half with 18. You got to go in there and you got to produce.
Well, of course, you're spending 5 years in this Mustang program, and we kind of asked the same question to Casey. But what were some of the things? You've got a long time, 5 years to look back on. But what were some of the things that really stand out? And again, I think the championships are outstanding, but I'm sure it's more just the guys that you met, the friends that you'll have forever, and just being a teammate. But what are some of those memories that stand out for you?
I mean, Casey said the whole bus ride thing, but I guess you almost have to. There's some interesting things that happen on there. I mean, AP and Dale have some great stories with that.
We probably can't say on air some of these stories.
I don't know if that's the best thing, but it really is. It's more than basketball. It's a lot of the just hanging out with the guys, and like you said, there's friendships that I'll probably have the rest of my life, and I still talk to a lot of those guys on a weekly basis. So I mean, yeah, the basketball and the championships are fun, but that's probably in 20 years. That's not what we're going to be talking about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and Coach, you were a 5-year player at Southwest, and kind of came into your role as well. And I'm sure that's one thing that you could tell from Trent, from recruiting him and all the way finishing up his career. And those are the kind of players we need here at Southwest.
Yeah, both Trent and Casey, and we talked about this many times. I felt like they were the glue to this group, and a lot of people maybe overvalue just your production, your points, and all that type of stuff, and that wasn't necessarily what was important with them. I mean, there was importance. They're just their leadership ability, how they communicated with guys. They were the glue. They kept these guys together, and they're going to be very difficult to replace next year as far as leaders. the other thing that I really appreciate from both of those guys is how they went about their business. They never had it easy. Both of them had to earn every opportunity that they had. And I think in life, the way they went about their business through the good times, through the adversity, I think you're seeing two young men who are going to be successful in life. And that's some things, with this basketball experience, it is more than just wins and losses, who scores points. Trent's right. In 10 years, he's not going to be talking about how he made shots. He's going to be talking about some funny story that happened, on a trip or something. And that's how it is with us, with our guys, the group that I played with. And that's something that we want to try to continue to get going here in this program, is talking about that rewarding experience, make it more than just basketball. And over the course of time, if you do it the right way, you work hard, you work together, those championships, those wins, they'll kind of take care of itself.
And we should also mention there was a third senior, Dawson Jones, coach, who came back this year, did not play last year, played 3 seasons ago or a couple of seasons ago. But here's a guy that did get to play a lot, but had to play some big minutes against St. Cloud this year, and he played in the conference tournament and the regional as well. And that's exactly what we're talking about. And as a guy that helps keep the team going, and those are the guys you need.
And I didn't mean to leave Dawson out, because he is just as big of a factor. I said, when we had our best practices this year, it's when Dawson Jones was ready to go. And a lot of times that usually was something with Dawson Jones maybe talking a little smack to the top team, and then they got going and the competitive juices were flowing. But, very, very blessed to have all three of them part of the program, and we will miss them. We'll miss them greatly next year.
Well, Trent, same question that we posed to Casey. What is your future plans now? Again, you can just kind of hang out here for the next couple of months here for your college career here, being a student, and you've always been a big man on campus, but that could continue. But what's your future goals here once you graduate and moving on?
Well, after I get done with this grueling semester that I'm taking, 6 credits, so I really don't have a lot of time for anything else but school. But after that, Dawson and we kind of have a little entrepreneurship idea, but if that happens to fall through, I plan on looking for a job, kind of in the job hunt right now. Probably move closer back to the cities where I got a lot of family and friends. But we'll see. If any opportunity comes up, I'm pretty much willing to go anywhere.
Well, it's
a lot of Mustangs are curious. Will Trent Carlson coach? Like his father, like his family's all, basketball's been a big part of it. You know the game very well. Is a coaching profession something that would interest you at some point?
At some point it might. I think I'm going to try to go the business route right now, but you never know. If that doesn't necessarily go as well, who knows? I might be a GA coming back here. We'll see.
You want a real job, not coaching. Right? No, I'm joking. It's whatever you do, it's going to be exciting, and we wish the best of luck to you, Trent, and to Casey as well, and Dalston, our 3 Mustang seniors, big impacts this year and throughout their careers at Southwest, and overall just a great season, Coach. And Trent, 19 wins, conference tournament championship. I suppose that'll be something you'll never forget. You got to cut the nets down several times in your career, and that last week and a half was pretty special to get to Rochester and win those games in the type of fashion that we did.
I think the biggest thing is just being in the program and getting to where you wanted to be. And then the next year, we kind of struggled a little bit, and then we had to rebuild. And I think that's something that shows a lot about Coach Bigler and his ability to get his team back on track.
Yeah, so it should be an exciting off season, and get ready for next year as well. It's going to be a great upcoming seasons here for Mustang basketball under Coach Bigler and his staff and the players as well. And that's a tribute to you guys. And I know before we go off here for the last time this season, you just want to say thanks to the fans out there. We had great support all season, great support in Rochester, and going out to Colorado as well. And it's going to be an exciting year. We need those fans to stick with the Mustangs. Not only through the off season, but in the next season as well.
And we talk about it all the time. How that's what makes Southwest this experience different. Our fan base, our support that we get in the community. I believe we are a basketball community in many ways, and just the overall support. When we go through some adversity, it's crazy how fans will go out of their way to try to help us out, and whether it's gift baskets, whether it's just letters, whether it's phone calls. Very fortunate to have the fan base that we do, and we're looking forward to have everyone back and ready to go next year.
Should be an exciting 2012-13 season. coming up in next October. Again, the Mustangs finished 19-11 this past season, 15-7 in the conference, finished second in the NSIC, win the conference tournament championship, and advance to the NCAA regional as the number 4 seed before losing to MSU Moorhead. But a great season for the Mustangs. I want to say special thanks to all of you who watched Mustang basketball all season long with Coach Bigler and myself here at smsumustangs.com and at Studio One here in downtown Marshall. I want to thank Jess Nelson as well for doing all the work behind the scenes, getting us ready throughout this 2011-12 basketball season. For the head coach, Brad Bigler, I'm Kelly Loft. Thanks for watching Mustang basketball this year. Until next year, go Mustangs!